I'm going to be speaking about Google Meet, an application that you can use for conferencing, video, and voice. If you've never used Google Meet before, it's actually a pretty simple application to use. And it does fall under the synchronous learning tool, a synchronous learning tool that you can use to communicate with students in real time. And it, of course, allows instant feedback and clarification. And if you're using it to actually teach something new, then it can possibly make it more engaging and effective for the students. Now, there are a couple different ways that you can create or start a Google Meet. I'm going to start off talking about the way that is probably most beneficial for teachers to use with students, at least at this time, the recording of this video. And that is to go to meet.google.com. And when you go to meet.google.com, you're going to come and you're going to see a screen just like this. It may have a different background. Google loves to switch up the backgrounds here, kind of keep you on your toes. And once you get here, it's really simple. You see where it says join and start a meeting. If you just click over here, a box will appear and it's going to ask you to either enter a meeting code or a nickname. Now, for what we're doing, we don't have a meeting code. We are creating a meeting right here, right now. So we are going to create a nickname, and you can create pretty much any nickname that you want to. I might suggest, just to help keep it unique, that you use possibly your subject area and last name, or part of your last name, and maybe even a bell or block number if you wanted to. So just for this, and it doesn't matter whether you use capitalization or not, I'm just going to say ITS, and I'm going to put in my last name, and I'm going to click continue. And then it's going to bring me to this screen here. And from this screen, you'll see up here that it lists off what the nickname is for the excuse me, the meet. And it tells us if anybody is already here. We just created this, so there should not be anybody else in here. No one else is here now. Now, before I click join now, I can go ahead and I can mute my microphone, or I can turn off my camera prior to entering the actual meet itself, which is completely up to you as the teacher. You probably don't want to turn any of these off, but you may want to ask your students to at least mute themselves before joining the meeting, just so it helps with any confusion. Too many people talking at once. Then we just click join now. And we get in here, and the first thing that's going to pop up is this screen, and it's going to give us a unique link here that we could send to individuals if we wanted to, or we could add people individually if we want. But we don't need to do that, because hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to share through Schoology what our nickname is with students. This way, if we're sharing the nickname, we're not giving them a direct link to keep coming back and forth with, so that we can keep them from popping in and out later on when we're not around to be there to supervise. So I'm going to close this down, give permissions up here to allow. And the first thing you're going to notice is that we have a toolbar up here. It will always show you right here in the far right corner. Next to that, this is where we can click to do a chat. It will always tell you how many people are currently involved with this meet. Right now, it's just me. If there were other people here, then obviously the number would go up, and as they chat, it would list off by name who is saying what. So you can ask questions, answer questions, give information right here in the chat. Going to click back over here. Again, with people, shows one, shows how many are in here. That way you can also help keep track of if all your students are there like they're supposed to be. When we click on people, it will show a list of people down here. And when you have other students that are in here, if you click on their name, it will give you the ability to mute them, or to even remove them from the meet should they be doing something inappropriate and you need to remove them. You will have the ability to do that. And over here we have the grid. This will only show up if you have installed the Google Grid View extension, which you can get from the web store. If for VB middle folks, I did post about that in both an email and put it on our Padlet as well. And once you get here, you'll see you have three choices when you hover over the grid. You can only show participants with video, meaning that when the grid is created, if a person isn't using video, if they've, let's say, called in with a phone number, then they won't show up in your grid. Otherwise, there will be a grid space for them with just an icon or a picture. If you click highlight speakers, that means that whenever someone is talking, that grid box will become larger. It will highlight them so that you can see exactly who is talking. And last but not least, you have include yourself in the grid. That might be important for you. You may want to see yourself to make sure that what your students are seeing of you is okay. Sometimes we have distractions going on while we're doing these things, especially from home. And sometimes it's nice to know what is on camera and what's not. But again, so you could just click on grid view and that would put you in grid view. Since there's only one person here currently, it doesn't matter for me. Now, if we come down to the bottom, you'll see that we have another toolbar. Over to the far left, if you click by where the nickname is, you can get all that information as well. Again, if you needed the link, if you wanted to send somebody the link, you could do that, no problem. You then have the ability to, while in meeting, click on the microphone button to mute yourself, click on the phone to leave, and you can turn off your camera as well by clicking on this button. If you do that, as you can see, it'll still show an icon or a picture if the person has a picture on their Google account. There show that's who's there, but obviously the camera is off. You can also do turn on captions and present now. If you're teaching your students and you want to present to them, you can click present now, and this will present the screen to them, whatever you're doing on your computer, so that they can follow along. Now, one thing that you could attempt to do if you have more than one device is you can log in to Google Meet on each of your devices, say your phone and your laptop, or your laptop and your Chromebook. And you can use one of those devices to stay connected to the Meet as yourself with your picture, talking to them, the video, and use the other device to possibly show or use kind of like a document camera that you could then present that device and show them maybe a worksheet or something that you kind of like you would a document camera in your classroom. There's also these three dots over here that you can click on. And when you get here, you'll see the top selection is record meeting. You can record the meeting. And it has been asked that if you are actually giving instruction to students, that you record the meeting. And there are a couple reasons for this. The first reason is because if you have students that aren't able to connect for whatever reason at that time, you'll have the recording that they can then go back and look at. Also, for students that have IEPs and 504s, having a video for them so that they can go back at their leisure and spend more time going over the information is also very important. When you're in Google Meet and you click record meeting, it will automatically record the meeting and it will save it automatically in your Google Drive. So you can then go into your Google Drive and simply just share it, use the share button to get a shareable link, and then you could post that link in your Schoology course, and students would then have access to view that meeting that you had later on. You can change your layout, how you have it. Of course, if you are using the grid view, this really won't be important at all because you'll just use the grid view. You can go to full screen. By going to full screen, it will cover up all of the bars. I will show you here. So you'll see now that I no longer have any of my tabs. We're in full screen mode. And to exit that, I just press escape on my keyboard. Again, we have another button that we can turn on captions with, and then we have a settings here. This settings right here is basically for your microphone to deal with your audio and with your camera, with your video. So if you find that something's not working correctly, you can always come in here and you can check. You can even run a test to make sure that your headphones or speakers and microphone are working correctly, and the same with your video. If you want to use phone for audio, you can also do that by clicking here. And at the bottom, we have a report a problem. And if you need help, this will take you to a Google page with frequently asked questions and answers, as well with contact information if you do need help with Google Meet. So this is basically how Meet works. It's really friendly, user friendly, and you shouldn't have any issues at all. Your students won't have any issues at all. Once you give them the nickname that you've created, they will just come and they will use that nickname. Now, the key is when you give them that nickname, once you have finished your meeting, you must have all students log out of the Meet. You should be the only one left. You should only see yourself. And once you have only seen yourself, and you're the last one in, then you will close the tab. Don't just hang up, but close the tab. And I will show you. If you hang up, it will bring you to a screen that asks you if you want to rejoin or return to the home screen. Because it's asking you if you want to rejoin, that means it is keeping the session live because it's giving you the opportunity to go back in. Once you click here and close the tab, it will automatically close that session. What that means is that if students come back and they try to use that nickname again and your session has been closed, it will no longer open for them and they can't get into a Meet where they are unsupervised because there isn't an adult in the room with them. So that is Google Meet in a nutshell. But really quick, I'll show you the other way that you can create a Meet. And this is definitely good if you are doing this with colleagues. If you click on a new tab, one of the easiest ways to do this, you can go to your Google Apps if you've put them in there, or, and especially if you're on a Chromebook, you can come over here to our waffle and you can click on Calendar. And when you go to Google Calendar, you can click on Create to create a new event, and then click on More Options. I have to give it a name. I can give it whatever name that I choose to give it. But the important thing is that I want to come down here and I want to say Add Conferencing and click there, and then Hangouts Meet. Once I click on that, it is going to create a session for me. And you'll see that it actually has a code here at the end after the .com and the slash. That is the code for the meeting that people can use to join. And I can also come down here and I can edit it if I want to a 10 digit. It has to be a 10 letter code. I can do that. It also gives a phone number for people who want to call in for the Meet as well. Now, I can do a couple things here. I can take this right here and I can copy it, and then I can post it in Schoology, whether a group or a course, if I wanted to. Or I can come over here and I can add guests. And by doing that, I just start typing in a name and it shows up, and then I select the person that I want to add to this, and I keep doing that until I fill up all the people that I want. Now, if there's not that many people that you're inviting to this meeting, that is a great way to do it. It will email them. They will get a link in their email that they can click on and go to right away. If you have a lot of folks coming, like if you did decide to do it this way of the students, this is probably not the best way to do it. The best way would just be to copy and paste the link in your Schoology page. Once you click save, it will email any guests that you have added here, as I said before, and they will get a link in that email. As far as the rest, you would set up everything else the same here, giving it a title, the date and time that you want the meeting to run. Now, the reason why it is not suggested at this time to do this with your students is because once they have a Google Meet set up via a calendar, that Meet basically goes live. So those students, if they have this link, could click on that link and they could go into that Google Meet right then and there, whether you're there or not. Google is working on that to change the process of that, so that won't be the case in the future. But right now, the workaround is just to use the nickname for the Google Meet. So I hope that this has been informative and helpful for you with using Google Meet with students and colleagues as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me an email, and I hope you have a great day.